Welcome to the Female Founder Unplugged podcast, a show for women entrepreneurs who want to build, grow, and lead successful businesses and high-performing teams. I'm your host, Lindsay White, leadership coach and people strategy expert, here to bring you unplugged conversations with a variety of amazing guests who share expert advice and real actionable people strategies for your growing business. Ready to get unplugged? Let's jump in. Fantastic. Welcome back to the Female Founder Unplugged podcast, everyone. Today, I have with me Danielle Rodriguez Cade, and she has an incredible 17 years of experience in the administrative field, over 13 of which have been in the association management sector. And we're going to talk about that. She owns, and I love this, Cat and Bat Virtual Assistants, which provides administrative support at the very tippy top executive level for small organizations. And that's really important. This isn't just your run-of-the-mill VA agency. Danielle enjoys the cocktail of knowledge, decisiveness, and manpower her position and the experience bring to an organization in the form of communications, project management, social media management, and just really getting into the operations of a small business, which is so key for so many of us. When she's not doing all that magic, she loves to volunteer, exploring Cincinnati that she loves, and cuddling with her husband and watching Friends, which we all love.
The
So
best.
welcome. Yeah, the best, right? I love it. Welcome. Thanks for being a guest here on the show today. Love it.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
It is absolutely a pleasure. And we were just having a lovely chat before we hit the record button, but we'll get into some of that goodness later. Tell us first and foremost, because the story is great. Cat and Bat, tell us about all of that, the journey to getting there.
Absolutely. So we had, all right, so this is the honest truth. Okay, I'm gonna spill the
Yeah.
tea.
Spill
What
the
happened,
tea.
I'm spilling it. What happened was in COVID, my husband got really jealous of my work from home life. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. He'll color it differently, but this is the truth. And to be fair, he had a very it was a lucrative job, but it was a very physical job. He had wanted a career change, but we're in our late 30s, and yes, you can do a career change, but how are you going to get the money? Like all the things.
Right.
Um, all the things. I really love what I do. I've always been in the administrative field. My first job after I, worked for my parents was being a receptionist, and I've just, taken it on and just added a lot of skills from there. And I really loved the company that I worked for.
Right.
But we went to Italy for a month. It was glorious. And we were able to do it because he had all of this time off because of COVID. We ourselves played it a little more conservatively. So we hadn't taken that time off and things like that. And then I was able to work remotely. And by the end of that month, he had me convinced that, yes, this could be our life. We could be living in Italy. If only he would work with me. So that's kind of how we started creating our own company. There were lots of conversations. I was not sure that he would really understand that if I was telling him to reword an email, it was not me micromanaging. It's because there's an art. Yes.
Yeah.
So, but he's been such a pleasure to work with. It's just reinforced our relationship, and I'm more obsessed with him than ever. So it's been great.
I love that. You know
Yes.
what? Hey, listen, COVID was shitty for a lot of reasons. Um,
Hmm.
but there's always a gift and an opportunity. And so
Hmm.
I love that the gift for the two of you was the opportunity to start a
Yes.
business together and to just really find even more joy and fulfillment in your life, like in the work you do, but also in your relationship and build that life that you both really wanted to have. I love that.
Hmm.
That's a dream
Yeah,
come
thank you.
true.
It really is. We've really been enjoying this time in our lives together. So yes, we're in it. We'll be celebrating our 2-year company anniversary next week. And I have to say, I kept on thinking, well, I have a really good, fallback if it turns out this doesn't work. And now that we're hitting 2 years, I'm like, we're good. Like, let's keep this going. So
I love
yeah.
that. Yeah, I think you know what? I think that's super neat. And I mean, to be fair, not everybody could work with their partner.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but that you have found a sweet spot is actually super cool.
Yeah. I will say, I think one of the hardest parts was coming up with our name. I am very girly. I wanted all the things pink. That would not work for him.
No,
I know that pink has evolved. I'm not saying it hasn't, but you know what? We're millennials. Pink is still girly to us. We're trying. He's breaking out of that. But at the time, he was like, please,
right,
nothing super girly.
right.
So we both love Catwoman and Batman. We call ourselves big nerds. And that's why we named ourselves Cat and Bat, because we said, who better to represent our partnership?
Yeah, I love it. Like total superheroes. And I mean,
Yes.
that's essentially what you do. I mean, just reading the bio and we've chatted previously. I mean,
Mhm.
that's really what you do is some superhero level work for small business owners. And I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, our tagline is your administrative heroes. We're
Yeah.
here for it.
Yeah, I love it. So I'm super curious because I'm sure I mean, it sounds like it's working beautifully, but I'm sure that there's moments where you've bumped into stuff, had those sticky spots. How
Mhm.
do you work through that? Like, work, live, and play together, but how do you work through those sticky spots?
Well, I think that a lot of times there's a there's a certain layer of trust involved. So, for example, a lot of times I've noticed that the sticky spots come into, hey, he's working on something. He's now, he feels, and he is, at a certain level where there's certain clients that he's basically taken over and he's doing. But if I look at something and said, I'm going to need you to reformat that. And then that's when I see, because he's been doing it for longer now, where he's like, what? Um, but I think especially early on, it would happen a little bit more where he'd be like, is that really necessary? Was one time he said it. And then after we reformatted the email and he saw the difference in the email responses coming back versus how he had sent it, he's like, oh, okay. So I think for him, there was a certain switch where he, was able to say, okay, even if he doesn't understand why it is that I'm asking him to do something a certain way, he knows it's ultimately the best way. And then even if it's just at this point in time, he knows what he's doing, I know what I'm doing, we just take a step back and we'll say, okay, no problem. I'm going to go upstairs and take a break. Maybe I'll watch a little TV, maybe I'll have my coffee in peace. Normally just giving ourselves 10-15 minutes of separation will help us to come back and say, hey, because honestly, usually at this point, it's just an imperfection issue. I'm so sorry. I was tired. I wasn't feeling my best, and I shouldn't have raised my voice when it came to this, or I didn't understand what was happening, so I was a little snippy. And those are just little things that you can get over. It's helped that we've been married for 14 years now, so we've, know each other a lot
Yeah.
better, and we've gotten, you learn the beauty. There's so much beauty to it, but the beauty of being married longer is that you just know how each other thinks and what works and what doesn't work a little bit more.
You've worked out a lot of the kinks.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, totally. But I mean, being married and then deciding to build a business together, I mean, that's a lot of togetherness.
It is. Yes. It's a lot, but so in COVID, I have a lot of upper respiratory issues. So we played it really conservatively in COVID because of that. And we don't have kids. We didn't, I worked from home. He was a window washer. He had his own room. So we were able to live pretty isolated from other people. And, just like with everyone, we had no idea how it was going to turn out. I
Right.
do think that that helped because by the time like 6 months in, I'm like, I can't believe I'm not tired of this man yet. Like he's so cute.
That's pretty
uh,
amazing.
yeah, it really reinforced that we choose each other every day, that we made a right choice in the beginning, and we've worked hard to make sure that it still works.
Yeah, and I think that that's such a great point. Not that this show is about marriage counseling, but
Yeah.
um, I think that is really critical in a relationship. And
Mhm,
whether it is a personal relationship, or it's a relationship with a business partner,
mhm.
or both in your case, you have to choose every day
Yeah.
to stay connected in that relationship,
Mhm,
right? And
mhm.
a lot of my clients, a lot of the people that listen to this show are entrepreneurs and founders. And so, but they may have a partner in their business. At the very least, it might be my business, but certainly my husband's very invested
Yeah.
in the success. And so we have to choose to stay in those relationships. We have to
Mhm.
choose to stay connected. And we have to have real appreciation for what the other person has to offer and has to bring to the space. Like, I think that that's really critical.
It's true. I think that it's so, you know, in terms of my husband, we've worked hard together, and I don't ever want to judge him on a bad day.
Yeah.
Just because he's having a bad day, and vice versa.
Yeah.
For every time that he's been snippy or irritable or something, there've also been the times when I've been too sick to work, and he'll take the laptop into the bed and say, "All right, just tell me what to do and I'll do it."
I love it.
How how
Wow.
can I yeah, it's beautiful. So it's just I feel like just trying to keep those in mind, and
Yeah.
it's proven well. It's worked well for us.
Yeah. I mean, you're in it to win it, right? And I think,
Mhm,
I mean, even when I'm working with clients and I'm talking to them about building and then really nurturing a high performing team. Like I,
mhm.
I I think the principles are the same, right? Clearly, your employee's
Yeah.
not going to crawl into bed with you with the laptop. I mean, that's a little bit, that's another level of intimacy. But I think the foundational idea is the same, is that
Mhm.
we're all focused on the same goals, and the we understand the outcomes we're trying to create. And then
Absolutely.
we support each other in those moments where someone's overworked or overwhelmed, or they're not feeling well in your case. I mean, that happens in every organization where
Mhm.
someone is struggling, and we have to support each other so that we can accomplish what we set out to do, right?
Mhm.
And so I think that is so critical. I mean, you and your husband clearly have a beautiful relationship, period. But even in all of our small businesses, we have to create that trust. We have to create that honesty, right?
Mhm.
That I'm struggling, I need help. That's hard. That's
Yeah.
hard for so many people to ask. Clearly, your husband sees that you're right. Like,
Yeah.
he's your husband. He should be able to figure that one out. I do. I mean, there's parallels here, I guess, is what I'm trying to pull out for us
Absolutely.
in our businesses as we lead people that are not part of our family. Even if
Mhm.
we are, I mean, I work with family run businesses. I mean, we really have to be able to connect and communicate in a really meaningful way, and then pull together to really, get the work done in a way that's truly meaningful.
Yes. I agree. I
Yeah.
think it's funny when we first started and I was really training him a lot and everything, he would take note. He'd be like, "Oh, you're talking to me as if I was," but in a good way. He's like, "Oh, you're training me as if it's someone," because I've trained a lot, with other organizations. It's like, "Oh, are you handling me?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know. We're
You
learning this
feel like you're
together."
being handled? Yeah. I love it. Love it. But it's true, right? When he was
Mhm.
first new, I mean, that
Mhm.
would have been a transition in skill sets, a transition in work. Clearly, You're coming to this
Yes.
with a great deal of background and experience. And so,
Hmm.
yes, you're being trained because clearly you know what you're doing. Like you set the pace here a little bit. Now it
Yes.
sounds like he's really pulled alongside.
Hmm.
And isn't that what
Absolutely.
we want in all of our businesses, right?
Yes. And I will say, had I not, one of the benefits of doing it once you're already, established as a married, like once
Yeah.
we started the discussions 12 years into it or 11 years into it, whatever. Is that I knew him and I knew him well enough to know that he would be a good administrator. He had a lot of those soft skills and they just
Yeah.
needed refining. I think it would be had I had a husband who wasn't as detail oriented or who wasn't able to focus, like just certain skills that we really need and what it is that we do. I can't say that I would say yes. I do think some of it was a perfect mix of hard work, dedication, but he already had those skills and he was humble enough to know that, I would be able to draw a lot of that out of him.
I love that.
Hmm.
I love that. And yes, you're right. The humbleness that
Hmm.
that he would be, he was ready to really listen and absorb and actually receive some of that important instruction.
Yes.
But I think you make such a great point, um, that, you know, in your husband's case, or whether we're actually looking external to bring someone into our small business as an employee or a contractor,
Hmm.
it's really about ensuring that they do have the right skills and experience, but there is the competency. There's the
Yes.
fit, the values. I mean, clearly you had value alignment because you're married. But like,
Hmm.
do your values fit? Did they understand? Can they really see the vision? Clearly
Hmm.
your husband could see that. He could see what you were trying to create. But I think a lot of small business owners miss those pieces when it comes to actually trying to bring someone into the business as it grows. Oh, well, they've got the skills and experience. They can do the things. Yes, but
Hmm.
are they going to do them really well? Are they going
It's
to do
true.
them the way you want them done? That your
Yeah.
clients expect them to be done? Well,
Hmm.
clearly your husband was ready to, get his head around that. I
Hmm.
think we sometimes miss that when we're actually looking to add members to our team, and that's a big miss.
It really is. I assisted with hiring for one small business for a while, and there was someone who had all of the skills. Like it was a very niche business, and
Mhm.
she had experience in this niche, which is super rare to find. She had so many amazing skills, but you could also tell just by talking to her that she wouldn't want to do the menial tasks. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, but that's still part of your job. And really, uh, I come from my father was an entrepreneur. Like to me, there's no job that's too small for you to do. If that's part of your job description, like that's part of
Yeah.
your job description. And that's how you grow, really. You shouldn't be looking down as if this is too too unimportant for you to
Yeah.
do. And you could tell that was her attitude, but the company took a chance on her anyway. And sure enough, that was the biggest thing. She did not like doing the menial tasks, even though that was involved. She did not like assisting other people with those menial tasks. And you're right, it's just such a miss. And it's something that even if they have the skills, is it really worth the emotional draining of it to have
Yeah.
someone who's not aligned emotionally or value wise? I say it isn't.
No, you know what? As someone who's been doing that kind of work for almost 20 years,
Mhm.
I believe that you're better off actually finding someone that has 75% of the skills and is willing to grow and learn
Yes.
and has alignment with the values that you really hold dear in your business, the mission and the
Yes.
vision, um,
Hmm.
and then helping them grow and learn. But
Absolutely.
I think you're far better off to have that fit and
Mhm.
some of the skills and experience than have all of it and no fit at all. Because you're
That's
right,
true.
it's like torture. It's like having your fingernails pulled out because
Exactly.
everything is a big, and the truth is it's unpleasant on both sides. Because
Mhm.
in your example, I'm sure she wasn't happy.
Mhm.
She
Yeah, you're
wasn't
right.
happy with it.
Mhm.
Right?
You're
So, in
absolutely right.
fact, everybody kind of is miserable, and that just the truth is it never goes well. 20
Yes.
years doing this work, 20 years helping organizations and leaders do their recruitment, and I've seen it over and over again. "Oh, no, no, it'll be great. It'll be great. We'll totally figure it out." No, it like, it just doesn't happen. Like, it never
It doesn't happen.
it doesn't work like that. So, what a great lesson though. I mean, again, you're so lucky to have a husband who really was able to see what incredible value you bring and how he
Mhm.
really learned from that. And isn't, I mean, whether they're an employee or a partner in life, isn't that what we want? Is someone that's like, "Hey, there's valuable stuff here to learn.
Mhm.
I can really see myself growing in this organization because holy smokes, there's a whole bunch of stuff here that will keep me
Yes.
busy and entertained."
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
that's
And
brilliant.
who doesn't I think most people like to learn. I at
Yeah,
least hope so. And so when you give them that opportunity to do so, like I loved that ratio that you had 75% and they learn the rest of the
yeah,
25. Usually, even with me, even in my own, when I look back at my own work experience, so much of what I got to do was because I didn't have that 25% and I wanted to learn it,
yes,
or I knew how to take that 75% and just push it a little bit more. And the opportunities that opened up, the people I got to work with, like it's been
yeah,
really wonderful. And it's because of that constant willingness and want to learn.
yeah. I think I think that's an important value in an organization. If we
Hmm.
want constant and consistent growth, and we want to be innovative, which so many of us do in our businesses, we really want to be thinking ahead, then
Yeah.
yes, we have to think about hiring people that are comfortable pushing the envelope, are really deeply value being able to learn and grow, and not just in a classroom, but often on the job.
Hmm.
We need to hire people that are deeply curious and
Hmm.
ask why all the time so that we continue to iterate processes and programs. Like, I think those are skills and competencies and values that organizations always need to be on the lookout. Like, that needs to be
Yes.
at the top of the list when we're
Yes.
actually thinking about who we want to join our organization. Again, whether they're a consultant or an employee, those
Hmm.
things are critical, and people will call them soft skills, but actually I think they're essential. They're
Hmm.
absolutely essential in a world now post-COVID that
Hmm.
absolutely never stops changing. Change
Yes.
is the constant.
Hmm.
Those are things that are absolutely critical to help a small business grow.
It's true. And it's so beautiful, the when you go in and you work for organizations like that. Like I was able to learn things, yes, because I had that hunger to learn, but really, let's face it, it's because my boss was uh, all too happy to satisfy that hunger.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful relationship. She's someone who, I worked with her for years. I still have a great relationship with her, and most of her employees end up staying. And it really is because she says once they're trained, she's like, all right, yeah, I trust you. And then they keep on learning. And then if they tell her, hey, I think we could do this better, she listens. She
Yeah.
wants to learn too. It's a beautiful relationship both ways. Who doesn't want to work for someone like that? Who doesn't want to be involved in that team?
100%.
Hmm.
100%. I've always said, we need to hire smart people and then we need to get out of their way.
Mm.
Let
Yeah,
them
that's a good
do the
word.
thing we hired them to do. Like, let them be the
Yeah.
smart person. And then, yes, encourage that natural curiosity,
Hmm.
encourage that natural, like, deep desire to innovate.
Yes. Yes.
We as leaders in our businesses, we need to support that. We need
Hmm.
to fuel that. That's what grows our organizations,
Yes.
is that energy, that value that people bring. That's what really scales businesses.
Yes,
Well,
I
and I
agree.
think that's actually, I think I just segued myself because I think that's what we were going to talk about is this, we get this message that we always need to be growing and scale to six figures, scale to multiple six figures, 7, 8, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We always need to be growing, growing, growing.
Mhm.
And in fact, you and your husband have taken a bit of a different approach. You have a bit of a different philosophy around that. Yes?
Yes, yes. So we have a different philosophy on it. I mean, of course, who doesn't want more money? That's great. I mean,
That's what we're
we're
doing here. That's
that's
what
what we're
we're
doing here. Exactly. We're
doing.
entrepreneurs. We want the
Yeah.
money. No problem. But I do find that, especially in like networking and things like that, people, or even just as you're learning, people always are trying to push you. Oh, well, you should be a full-fledged agency and have employees under you. That's
Yeah.
not my dream. I'm not looking to conquer the world. I'm not looking to build an empire.
Yeah.
I'm looking to have this one little area where my husband and I have our dream clients and we're able to live the life that we want. We're both
Yeah.
really involved in volunteering. We
Yeah.
love doing that so much. We don't want to wait until we're retired in order to do that. We
Yeah.
love traveling. We want to be able to, we don't want to, even though our business has allowed us the freedom to be able to work from anywhere. When we're working from those locations, we still don't want to be working 40, 50, 60 hours a
No.
week. We want to be working less. Let's, you know what, who doesn't have health problems? We have health problems. He has migraines, I have asthma. I want to be able to have some space if I didn't breathe well that day,
Yeah.
to say, okay, well, this that needed to get done got done, and I'm going to take the rest of the
Yeah.
day off so that I can take care of my mental and physical health.
Yeah.
So for us, it's just been, I feel like that's something that I don't want to say I've struggled with, but I've found it hard to find there are others who identify with it. Really, I need to just be more patient when people who are, trying to have the best intentions are like, you need to scale. No, I don't. I don't need to scale. I like what I do. And I like it just
Yeah.
being me and my husband. Mhm.
I thank you. I thank you for saying that so boldly and so authentic and beautifully, because I think that there are women listening to this show
Mhm.
who absolutely feel it the same way.
Mhm.
I'm not out to conquer the world. I don't want to grow a multi-million dollar business. I love what I do. I'm very passionate about it. And I would never give that up. I want to do
Mhm.
that work in a way that's meaningful for me. I think that's why we all
Yes.
start these beautiful businesses. But no, I have no desire to be an influencer. I don't want 100 million followers. That's not where I'm at.
Mhm.
And I think that that's a message that does not get said enough or as loudly as it should.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. I know you had an episode on like hustle culture and how it's dying, and I feel like it definitely is. I think that people are understanding, as it should be. We're finally more awake to the fact that, mental health, emotional health, spending time with our families is more important. But the old habits die hard.
Oh, yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I think there still is a space for talking it out and for really just trying to make sure that you're standing, well, for us, for standing firm in those values. No,
Yeah.
we love our clients. We of course
Yeah.
want to grow, but we want to grow at a pace we feel comfortable with.
Yes. Yes.
So mhm.
So it's so funny because as a coach, there's a lot
Mhm.
of messages. So, first of all, there are a lot of coaches out there that are not coaches. Gonna have a
Yes.
whole, actually, could do like a whole month of episodes on that. But what what we hear in the coaching industry is that in order to scale and grow, we need to always do group coaching. The group
Mhm.
coaching is the only way we can grow. And I got to tell you, um, I love being a coach. It's something I'm incredibly passionate about. The connection when I work with a client one-on-one, the transformation is so dramatic. The connection is so real and present and deep. And being able to hold space for people in a way that no one else does.
Hmm.
My clients say things to me that they don't say to other people, even sometimes their closest partner.
Hmm.
They can talk to me about because I don't have judgment. I don't have skin in the game. I don't have, right?
Yeah.
It
I mean,
is of no consequence to me. I am
hmm.
only in service of what is best for them
Hmm.
and what they want. It's not about me at all. Um, and so I love that. I would never give that up. I
Yeah.
would never give up the opportunity to continue to work one-on-one with clients. That doesn't mean that I don't enjoy my groups. I love them. I love when you have the right number of people and the right humans in the space and they are interacting in a way that is inspiring and provoking to each. Like there's something really magical about that.
Hmm.
But if it means that I'm not going to have $1 million business because I have to give up coaching one-on-one, then I'm super cool with that. I would
Yes.
never want to give up that deep, meaningful relationship with my clients. That's
Hmm.
ridiculous, right? I hate that that's the message. I really do. It feels wrong.
It does. I feel like there's so many messages for when you start out,
Yeah.
that are good. Build the life that you want, do what it
Yeah.
is that you love. But then once you're
Yeah.
established, that messaging changes. You don't hear that continuing on. And
Yes.
you really need to, because it's why so many of us started. We wanted to build the life that we love. We do
Yes.
have that opportunity to do so, and we took it. So why stop? I mean, what would be the difference? I, you
Yeah.
know, between working for, what's the difference, basically?
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
No, but I think that isn't that interesting. You're absolutely right. I hadn't thought about it that way. That it's yeah, there's a real shift at one point. And you made the comment earlier that it has to feel real and authentic and meaningful. And
Hmm.
if you want to grow your business and you want to add people to your team, whatever that looks like, there's a real meaningful way to do that that makes sense for you and for your business and for your client. Like it's got to be that triple win, right?
Yes.
And I think that's really key. And I don't hear you saying, no, we're never adding people. It's
Hmm.
we are going to add team at the time that's right for us and in the way that makes sense in this business.
Yes.
Right? And I think, when I work with my clients to really draft their people strategy, that's
Hmm.
always central to it. Like what's the work that you want to do and what makes sense in terms of how we add the right talent at the right time.
Hmm.
I think that is such an important message that just really gets lost in a lot of this very loud, you have to scale.
It's true. Yes, I agree. I mean, it's beautiful that you incorporate that into your business too, because again, it's just, this is why we became entrepreneurs, to
Yeah.
live, to focus on our ideas, to focus,
Yeah.
live the life we want to live, to
Yeah.
design that. And then, yeah. So it's great that you incorporate that.
I think it's key because we can get pretty lost in our businesses. We can,
Hmm.
we end up putting aside some of that. I've done it. You
Yes.
can't see me, but I have my hand up because I have at moments in time ended up putting aside some of those really important reasons, those really important values like flexibility, time with my family, right? I've put
Hmm.
those aside and it doesn't serve us.
Mm-mm.
And so it
No.
has to be a part of how you're going to plan your people strategy to grow. It has to
Yes.
be.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think that's so important. And it really does. It just gets drowned out. It gets
Hmm.
drowned out in this desire. We have we have deep desire to make these businesses successful,
Hmm.
right? I think you said we all want to make money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
right. But we get lost. We get lost along the way every once in a while, I think.
Yeah. So many people, if you're thinking of, you hear often about people who've left their corporate jobs, or even, for you, you
Yeah.
left a job in a toxic environment, with a
Yeah.
toxic boss. And a lot of times, well, you hear two sides of it. You hear, okay, well, now I'm making, six figures in such a short amount of time. That's a whole nother story. This
Yeah.
riches
Yeah.
in 1 month. But most of the time, you realize you're not going to make that money right off. Or, even if you make it with one client, maybe hourly, you're not, whatever. You're usually not that much more well off after you leave corporate. So what's the trade? And that's, the trade is living that life that you want because
Yeah.
you were in a toxic environment.
Yes. Yes. And I would also add the trade is you get to build this thing in the way that is truly meaningful for you.
Yes.
And it
Mhm.
doesn't have to look like what the guru type people are saying on whatever social platform is hot today.
Exactly. Yes.
It's,
Because even, I mean, I loved how you had broken down, I think when we first met, the difference between coaches and consultants,
yeah.
and then just anybody running an Instagram account.
Yeah.
So it's just, there's so much information out there, and there's so much misinformation out there. There's so many people who are telling you to do what worked for them, and then there's someone who seems to have the exact opposite approach. It doesn't it doesn't matter. It's one of the reasons why you have to do what's authentic to you. And really, that's what people are buying into. People are buying into these
Yeah.
small businesses like ours, like yours, because they are feeling that connection. When we lose that authenticity, then they might as well have gone for someone else.
You know what? That's 100% it. We build these businesses because it's meaningful for us. Our
Hmm.
clients are attracted to us because we are meaningful, not just the product or the service, but because of who we are and
Hmm.
what we bring to that, the talent and the skill and the experience, but also authentically the human being that we are. And
Yeah.
so we never want to lose that, right? That's absolutely critical to what we do.
Hmm. It's true. I will say that I don't think any one of my clients love Batman. In fact, I think that most of them know very little, if anything, about Batman other than, that comic book exists. But they love me, or they love like they love
Yeah.
our energy. They love the
Yeah.
fact, that we are nerds and that we're going to nerd out over your business. Like, that to us is one of the other reasons
Yeah.
why we chose Batman and Catwoman. Really, we're this obsessed, and we're going to be as obsessed with your small business. There are other executive level VAs who
Yeah.
are going to have a more polished, professional, and they're going to be great too.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's about who you're going to identify with more. It transcends branding. It transcends sometimes even what it is that you do. One of my clients, her packages are so custom that they're just changing every week as to what it is that we're doing for her, because we're building it all out. And it's just because we're going off vibes.
Yeah. No, that is exactly what people appreciate, right?
Mhm.
That is exactly what they
Exactly.
appreciate. Um, and so you don't want, I mean, if you take nothing else away from this episode, it's that you get to build the business that's meaningful for you
Mhm.
in a way that is fulfilling and joyful and brings you pleasure in the work. And that is okay to do that and to add compliment to your team in a way that continues to be meaningful and fulfilling and timely. You do
Yes.
not have to grow and scale anything that you don't feel ready for, that you don't feel aligns with your values. And you can have a lot of fun doing it.
Mhm.
And I think that that's such an important message. You don't have to listen to the guru hype.
Mhm.
You got to do what feels right and feels purposeful. And if you don't know what that is, yeah, reach out and get some help with that so that you understand what that strategy should look like for you. Thank you for a wonderful and compelling conversation that I think blows the doors off some of this hype and chatter that I think we see a lot of. So I really appreciate this because I think this is a really important conversation.
Oh, no, thank you so much. Thank you for I just going with me. This topic has evolved so much even from what we initially, talked about, and I really appreciate it. It was a little bit of a vent session, but I needed it.
Oh, I like it. I like it. And I want to put out there, we'll put it in the show notes, but one of the things that I created was a people strategy playbook. And
Mm,
so I'll put the link so that anyone that's listening can download it. And what it does, it just walks you through a series of questions and activities and tools to help you really think about some of these pieces. What are my values? What is
mhm.
my mission? Like, what am I even doing this for? What's my vision? What do I want to create? And then really thinking about, what's the work I really love? Like, why did I even start this in the first place? And really walks you through that. So I'm going to throw that link in the show notes so that anybody that's kind of questioning this can use that to think through some of these pieces that maybe now are swirling around in your head a little bit.
I like it. I think that's a great
Awesome.
idea.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you again for your time. I'm so glad we got to chat.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Female Founder Unplugged podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening as much as I did hosting this conversation. I feel so lucky that I get to connect with such amazing female entrepreneurs. And if you enjoyed today's session, would you do me a big favor? Would you hit subscribe and give this episode a 5-star review? I'd also love it if you would share with your friends. We've got a goal here at the Female Founder Unplugged podcast to impact 1,000 female founders. And with your help, we can really amplify the message. Thanks again for being a part of the show. And don't forget to connect with me at highvoltageleadership.ca. We'll see you next week.